All right. We are cruising through the Utah flights here. Just going to load up the stream if I can. YouTube doesn't seem to see it. There we are. Just took a second. So we're going to be doing the next leg in the Utah Alphabet Challenge that I've ginned up. And we're going to be flying from Dutch John, which is in the northern part of the state, up to down to Escalante, which is in the south central part of the state. In the TorqueSim SR-22, which fires right up today. Hopefully that's not too loud. I wanted it to be loud enough to hear, but not overwhelming. If it's too loud, you guys let me know. And we're going to fly today on with pilotage. We did that yesterday, flying from Logan to Dutch John, and it was fun. So I've got ForeFlight over here, but I've got the Wi-Fi off, and I'll show you here on ForeFlight here for a second what we're going to do. And our route is going to be real fast. We're going to fly VFR. We're up here at Dutch John. That says there's a little bit of rain over us, but I don't see it in the sim. We'll probably do a circling climb, gain some altitude, then we'll come through this pass on the east side of the Uintas. Then we'll go down past Vernal, and then we'll go past the mountains right here on the other side of Sunnyside. Those are the Patmos Mountains. And then we're basically just following the Green River for this route. And then down here we'll take a bearing at the edge of Boulder Mountain, which is this large mountain here, and then we'll come into Escalante. We've got ortho scenery, should be pretty. And again, pilotage, and the challenge will be when we are kind of through here where it's pretty barren. I mean, we'll see Green River, and we should be able to have a bearing there. We'll know what general heading we want to be on, but basically we're gonna give it a shot of flying with our eyes. So that is the plan. We don't have weather here, and Manila actually has weather in the real world, but it's not in the sim for some reason. Most recent weather there was wind 330 at 3, altimeter 3013. We know what our altitude is here at Dutch John. It's 6561. So we can fix that. And our CTAF here is 122.9er. We're already set to that. We can go ahead on, oops, I'm going to turn on our GCU unit. That should come up. Hello Kiwi, hello Cubs. Hey, let me know if the audio is okay, will you? That would be great. All right, so altimeter is set, engine is warming up. We've got traffic at a G5 that's coming unhooked from the panel. We it should be on PilotEdge. Easy way to check is we'll switch over to 123.4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on both. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Enter, swap, switch, calm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Enter, swap. We should hear ourselves. Radio check. We do not. Are we connected to PilotEdge? I seem to remember we had this problem yesterday. We are. Are we listening on COM 2? We are not. We had that problem yesterday also, didn't we? Radio check?
Check.
Okay, it's working. A little bit out of practice. Okay, Dutch on 122.9. Swap that over, and then we're going to go and pick up clearance over the top here at some point. I think this just tells us to call flight service if we want, center or anything like that. So when we look at our aeronautical chart, sometimes we'll see a postage stamp. Could be 12435. And Vernal, Salt Lake Center is 111.95, so we'll just switch over when we get to Vernal. Other than that, we're going to use our eyeballs here for flying. This monitor seems a lot darker than these two, although it has the same settings. The only thing I can think is that it's the way the light's coming in the sim. But anyway, neither here nor there. I'm not using the RSG-32 throttle unit. I actually built this throttle unit myself. So it's a little hard to see here. I know there's not quite a lot of light. Maybe I can show some light on it real fast. You might be able to see it there. But I built the flap handles myself, and although they don't seem to be working, do they? I might have unplugged them by mistake. I might not be running Air Manager. That could be the problem. That's probably the problem. I need to set up a script so that when I boot this thing up, everything does what it's supposed to do. Then you guys don't have to see all this nonsense of me trying to get things. It's not even reading this keyboard. Air Manager, is it running? Nope, it is now. There we go. So you can see that light just came in. So I built the center console. It's made out of wood, spray painted, and I 3D printed the flaps handle, and I found a pattern, 3D printed the throttle and the mixture, and then I've got another handle coming for the throttle that's more like the real SR-22. This is like the old SRs, and that should be here, I don't know, in a week. Found somebody who makes them on eBay, on Etsy. You can sort of see that. That's helpful. Okay, let's make our CTAF call. Let's get the hell out of here. Strobes are on, mixer's on, that's all set. Landing light is on. Proper clear, we've started. Everything's looking good. Flaps are up. We're not going to be using the autopilot much on this flight. Ready for taxi, we'll make our call. 122.9er. 122.9er, and be taking off. Said it was 330. There's a windsock somewhere. But yeah, so we're going to take off on 29er. 29er. Touchdown traffic, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf is taxiing to 29er. We'll be departing to the south, touchdown. Okay. I was adjusting the sensitivity of the toe brakes. These feel a little better. According to that, the wind is coming this way, so we actually should take off on 1-1. Touchdown traffic, check that. 15 Juliet Golf is going to depart 1-1, touchdown. Had that mistake last time. We tried to land here last night, and the AWAS told us it was one way, and when we came in, we had a 10 knot headwind, or tailwind, which made the landing. I would describe it as challenging. See anybody coming? This is one of those taxi back deals. Yeah, it's handling much better than it was before. Oh, that was weird. There we go. Doors, caps, seatbelt, REC. Let's get some air flowing. Fuel, we've got gas. Fuel pump is set to boost. Make sure it's good. Flaps at 50. Check them, they're down. Transponder, VFR, altitude. Autopilot done, nav radio set for takeoff or set, cabin interval, base hold, power level 1700. We're not going to do our run-up right now because I'm a little pressed for time. In the real world, we would always done our run-up. Here we go. Touchdown traffic, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf departing 1-1. We'll be making a crosswind departure to the south, touch one. Touch John. Toe brakes are working. Seem to be working pretty well. The rudder doesn't steer you for anything in this airplane until you're up to speed. Probably got quite a bit of density altitude here. Here we are, the X. Positive rate. Terrain. We'll go ahead and we'll make left traffic. Touchdown traffic, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf, making left crosswind. That's Sean. Flaps coming up. Set us better for the pass that we want to fly through. Touchdown traffic, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf, heading left downwind, 1-1, then we'll be making a departure to the south. Touchdown. pass I want to fly through. We can climb at VY, which is up here. Fish on traffic, 025 Julie off departing the area. Last call, this John. Vernal. Salt Lake Center frequency is 119.95. Right at BY. See Fleming Gorge down there below us. And we should be a heading of about 180. Just coming about right here. Basically gonna fly through that pass. Looking to see if I have any filters on that screen that's making that so washed out. I don't think I do. So I'm not quite sure what that's about. Problem for another day. Get back up to VY. Ourselves trimmed here for climb. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Okay, I haven't looked at the chat in quite a while, so let's look at the chat. Yeah, it wasn't very hard to build the throttle quadrant. I just ginned up some plans and came together pretty easily. I don't use Air Manager for anything else. The only thing I use Air Manager for is that flap switch and the lights. And I have another boost switch here that's very much like the one on the real airplane. But the reference variable for it isn't available in Air Manager yet, so it's not much good to me. Okay, let's get a view of traffic here, just in case. Yeah. Strange that that side is so much more. The PC driving these two screens is creating a much. It's got to be because of which way I'm looking. Hold on 1 second. that was me working with Mrs. Glide Slope to get dinner ordered. We were going to take a vacation this week. 10,500 is our altitude. We were going to take a vacation this week and ended up not doing it for a variety of not bad reasons. So I'm still working, but I've got kind of my calendar cleared of most meetings. And since we aren't enjoying restaurants and things like that on the road, we decided that we would order takeout all week. And it's been fun. So tonight's tacos, burritos for me. I don't know if you guys can see this balloon down here. The new X-Plane loves the balloons. It's all about the balloons. Far more balloons than you would see in the real world. But it's kind of cool to see them drifting along. Also a lot of trains. Far more trains than you'd ever see in the real world. Okay, we're coming through the pass. I can see that hitch in the road right there. So if we're looking for where we are, we're about right at that kink in the road there where it says 8647. And then we're going to basically fly past Vernal and then pick up the Green River and follow it most of the way. I can see that kink in the road right there. And I can see that reservoir down there, and I can see right there is the path of the power lines that I want to follow, kind of to Vernal. So we'll pick up this heading. Yeah, that looks great. Looks like a hot summer day in Utah. Okay, we'll keep the M flying for a little while. And I haven't heard center, so I don't know if we've got PilotEdge working or not. Let's look at the radio debug. Nope, around 119.95. Everything seems to be working. Radio's working. Let's see if we can pick up the Vernal AOSOS 118.125. Nope, I don't hear it. Might be a little far away. Oh, I can see Vernal right there. It's not uncommon to have a weather that's not in the sim, but it's there in the real world. Radio check. No, I'm picking myself up. Maybe it's just really slow today. Alright, well, let's get ourselves established here. We want to go a little west of Vernal Airport, actually. So we want to actually be heading sort of on that side of that lake. So we're a little off our heading. And from, if we're on that side of that lake, our general bearing is about 190, and we've got a little bit of a headwind. So we'll get bugged for that. over where we're supposed to be. Okay, let's get ready to have the autopilot on here for a little bit. Okay, we're on heading mode, and we are capturing up to 10,500 feet. And then we'll lean our engine. Can't see the chat right now because the missus took the phone so that she could order that aforementioned Mexican food. So you guys will have to bear with me for just a second. Vernal off the side. South slope of the Uintas. Open a sparkling water. The TorqueSim SR-22 simulates the yaw damper, which is nice. Okay, we'll do lean assist now. Get ourselves running just lean a peak. So we'll leave this till our EGTs come up. See what the density altitude, how cool it was running. Let those come up. And then once they peak, we'll turn them off. Now we want to be about heading 190. I can see the main road there coming out of Vernal. That's basically the heading we want to be on right there. Then we can see their green running down through there. Eventually we hook up with the Green River down about that way. Alright, see if we can keep coming up here. Our engine temperatures. Usually it's about 51% power, full throttle, lean peak. We can back off the throttle a little bit so we're not completely redlining. Get back to like 2,500. We can richen it up. I've got my real world checklist here. I can see if I had any notes to myself about that. Cruise economy. Here we go. Altitude 10,000. 2,500 RPMs. Is about right. It says I can go up to 2,700 if I want. So we'll give it a little more juice. And then we'll start looking for our peak. That's about it. And then I like to run about 75 degrees lean peak. That gives us good fuel economy, good power, but is easier on the engine for a long term. Yeah, about there. About 50%, which is about where I said it would be. And we're doing 160 knots over the ground. So we got that going for us, which is nice. Okay. Done with that. The phone has returned. I can catch up. Good evening from Ian in the UK. Hello, Ian. X-Plane 12 weather update will be great. I'm interested to know what you mean by that, Kiwi. Is there a weather update coming of which I don't know? That would be good news. We can always have better weather. Okay, we want to be careful not to get lost. So we're past Vernal. We were following that road. We can see
5130, I didn't get your aircraft type, equipment suffix or location for now squawk 4645. Maintain VFR.
Okay. There's Salt Lake. We can talk to them. Where are we? We're about... Okay, I can see that lake. That lake is on the charts right there. And it's bend, big horseshoe bend right there, which is right there. So we're about right there. So I would put us about 10 miles west-southwest of the Vernal VOR.
November 5130, Echo radar contact 3 miles north of Sacramento Executive Airport, altimeter 29.
We want to fly right over the top corner of that lake, which we are angled to do. Give him a second, then we'll pick up our squawk code, get following. Where to? Where to?
30 Echo, clear to Sacramento Executive Airport. Turn left heading 070. Radar vectors direct.
We're going to 1 Lima 7 Escalante. Nobody ever flies around Utah on PilotEdge, so these guys are like, who's that dude? Well, they know who I am, but you know what I mean. Salt Lake Center, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf, VFR request.
If that's what you want, circle line runway 20.
Oops, stepped on it. Sorry about that.
30 Echo, where would you like to begin the approach?
Like you can turn the brightness up and down with these things. Okay. We're on about the right angle. Over the top of the Ouray Indian Reservation. This part of Utah is quiet.
Or 30 Echo, turn right heading 180 vectors coops.
We can see the Green River. Try to get a work in advising in here. It would help if I was on the correct radio. Salt Lake Center, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf, VFR request. That was eloquent.
15 Juliet Golf, Salt Lake City Center, squawk 0241.
0241, 15 Juliet Golf. Yep, never ate my power bar.
Air 15 Juliet Golf, radar contact 20 miles east of the Mighton VOR and Vernal, altimeter 3002. What's your aircraft type, altitude and request?
We're a Cirrus SR-22, 10,500, and we'd like advisories to 1 Lima 7, that's Escalante.
Number 5 Juliet Golf, roger.
Adjust the altimeter, and now we've got the climb to gain altitude that we lost. Alright, so they're watching us. Always good. Tributary flowing into the green. So that would be the Duchesne River. So that puts us about right here. That's the Duchesne River. We can see the green coming through. And we'll follow the green for quite a bit. Then we get down here and get to the Patmos Mountains. And we make a little deviation, there rather than flying straight, because there's some terrain there that we don't want to mess with. The chart says multiple oil wells, and out there I see numerous oil wells right where they're supposed to be. Okay. I am getting some hours in the logbook, which is good because it's the only flying I'm doing right now.
Cleared 2.
Pretty soon here we're going to switch fuel tanks. This fuel tank can be tricky
to the Lewiston Airports via
because
as filed.
if you go too far to one side or the other in the Cirrus,
departure with
it turns the fuel off.
Squawk 4337.
This is a Cessna fuel switch emulation. It's got both in the center. I've both coded to nothing. I've got right coded to turning to the right. I've got left coding to turning to the left. But if you're on right and you think you're on left and you turn left, let's see, if you're on right, you think you're left. No, if you're on left, you think you're right, and you turn left, you turn off the gas. And if you're on right, think you're left, and turn right, you turn off the gas. Right now it's in the middle, which is nothing. So, but I can see we're drawing down left, so I'm presuming we're on left. So I'm going to leave it where it is, and then when we get a fuel imbalance, we'll switch it over to the right. And if the motor goes off, we'll get to practice an emergency procedure. So one thing is,
number 960, thank you. Read back is correct.
I wish it was to set it to one or the other rather than to rotate it. The code in the simulator just tells the knob that it's turning in a direction. It doesn't tell it what its setting is. And so it can be tricky if you're not switched to where you think you were switched. Right, we can look at our cruise checklist. Obviously, we're not using it. Fuel pump off. Cruise power set. Make sure gasoline is required. Temperature and monitoring fuel flow and balance. We are monitoring. Turn off our landing light also. Okay, now we're entering the canyon with the Green River. I don't remember the name of this canyon. Might be the start of Desolation, I believe. This is Desolation Canyon up here. We're going to fly right through it. Beautiful place. If I'm reading this right, and I like to think I am, we are about 140 miles to go, less than an hour. That would be 740. That would be right about the time I wanted to be. Might see if we can eke a little more performance out of this girl.
Number 30 Echo, turn right, heading 200.
They simulate oxygen and anti-ice in this plane, which is cool. TorqueSim does a really great job. Intensity altitude, 13,000 feet. How about that? 4 hours of fuel remaining, plenty of gas. Everything else is in the green. Those things, that's weird. Oh my god, you guys have been looking out the side window the whole time. Sorry about that. It's my first time. Desolation Canyon. Green River. Beautiful Badlands all around us. Again, much darker saturation over here than over here, but I can't quite figure that out. I think it's something about doing that. Oh well.
Number 36960, thank you. Release for departure and clearance void.
These two screens have exactly the same settings.
With your intentions on this frequency. Change to the advisory frequency is approved.
Alignment looks pretty good. Do I know, think if X-Plane 12 models the shift in fuel weight impacting the aerodynamics? I do, especially in this plane. When it has a fuel imbalance, it flies light on one side, flies heavy on one side. And if I didn't have the yaw damper on, if I didn't have the flight, the autopilot on right now, we would notice it for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's really strange. Those two are really, it's almost like there's a Windows-wide parameter that's making those screens really washed out. I wonder if it's NVIDIA at work. It sure looks washed out in the real world. More so to me than it does to you guys on screen from looking at the screen. But it's not as nice and contrasty and sharp as these are. No, who knows? Yeah, you can tell, and the plane sort of flies. It wants to list to one direction. In this case, it want to list to the right. Gotta tell you, it is warm in this closet. I've got a fan back here.
Number 30 Echo, turn right.
Screwed in the ceiling, but it likes to change and turn the wrong direction.
2000,
a little more light here if we want to see the inside a little better. Go ahead and monitor ground here, or guard. Oops. There we go. You're on guard. Okay, we're flying into the canyon. And when we pop out, then we're going to start paying a little more attention because we're going to start to leave the river behind us. And we've got terrain that we need to be thinking about. And there's a tributary on that side. So let's see. That is probably well, there's two. It could be. Looking at the start of the real terrain, I'm going to guess that it is this first one. And so we're right about here. And we'll really know where we are when we pop out on the other side of this ridge here. That's the edge of the Patmos Mountains. which is what the green cuts through here to make the canyon.
Seattle Center, Cessna 36-60.
So we're on almost exactly the right
1,700
bearing for that.
7,000.
And then we get into south central Utah, it really starts to get pretty.
Number 3660 Sierra, Seattle Center, radar contact 4 miles to the north-northeast of the Pullman VOR. Pullman altimeter 3004.
So if we're tracking home,
3004, 96 Sierra.
Radar 6 Sierra, when you're able, advise you of the weather for your destination. If you approach your bus, I'll take
we're
it.
right about here.
Okay, I'll check the weather shortly.
And that mountain I was pointing out is right there. And so when we get to the end of that canyon, we're going to head a little further west and then try to pick a bearing of about 204 degrees magnetic. We'll follow that for quite a while. We should easily see Green River on our side when we pass it. Then we go right over the San Rafael Swell, which is right here, which is distinctive, hard to miss. We'll go past Hanskville. You guys have a beautiful view of Capitol Reef National Park out that window. We'll swing around to the side of Boulder Mountain, which is one of the most extraordinary other places in the world. If you ever have a chance to take Highway 24 over the top of Boulder Mountain, that's a trip you need to take. It doesn't really go on the top, it goes right to the edge of it. You can see it right here from Grover and Torrey up around, and then it comes down into Boulder, Utah, and then down into Escalante, which is where we are going. Okay, let's check on our, oh, we've got traffic. 12 miles. Don't see him. You can see right there, traffic on the traffic display. 11,000 feet. ACP UC1, whatever that is. No joy on picking him out, but he's a long way away. So how are we doing with the 4Ps? Pilot's doing okay. Needs a simple water. Plane is performing fine. Everything seems to be nominal. We're a little hot. There we go. The passenger. You guys, hope you're doing great. You're the passengers.
430 Echo, contact Zach Tower 119.5.
And I get very emotional when I talk about this part. No, I've just got protein bars stuck in my throat. And the programming seems to be good. We're fine with pilotage, and we are where we think we are.
And Seattle Center, Cessna 3696.
There goes another trip sliding by. I believe that's that one right
and
there.
like the RNAV GPS Yankee 26.
And then we'll come just to the edge of the mountains.
Number 5130 Echo, Executive Tower.
I'm going to take us just this way, just a hair.
Runway 20, wind at 230.
Down here, so we're not, well, we should, I
land.
don't want to get too close to that peak. That's 9,200. We still have 1,300 feet clearance over that, depending on the altimeter.
Number 960, I have your request. Where do you want to begin?
The RNAV GPS Yankee, runway 26.
Take flying the
960 here, across the Nez Perce VOR at 7,000.
flying the 99 rating on PilotEdge. That person is.
Okay,
Good luck.
Across the Nez Perce VOR 7,000. Clear for the RNAV Yankee GPS 26. 3696 here.
Really interesting topography here. Such a beautiful part of the world, even simulated. It's really great. Love Utah and how it looks.
015 Juliet Golf, contact Salt Lake Center 125.57.
Or 255715 Juliet Golf. Salt Lake Center 15 Juliet Golf, checking in 10,500.
015 Juliet Golf, Salt Lake City Center, Roger Price, altimeter 3010.
10, thanks. 3010. Remember what I said about altitude? We just lost some. Really cool view of the river down there. Probably hard for you guys to see, but okay, there's our next canyon. And our next trib. It's just one trib after the next coming into the green here. And then we're going to have to keep our eyes open. We should be able to see the town of Woodside off the left side once we pop out from these mountains. And then we can kind of look at the general terrain for a suggestion of what we're looking at and where we're going. You can see sort of that large cliff there. And then down past that, you can actually see the river coming again down in there. Probably hard for you to see, but I'm doing that about right. From here, if we're right about where we should be, now we want to make our heading about 203. So let's make that turn. Once we've got that terrain now mostly out of the way. Yeah. Then if you can see that big outcropping, that uplift, we want to sort of split it. So I might come back this way just a shade. This is a scary place to be in a single engine piston airplane. Like if we have a problem here, there's really just the river bottom is the only place to go. We wouldn't have the altitude to make it to that plateau. So we'd shoot for the river bottom in front of us, down here, and try to make that survivable. Okay, I'll show you where we are on the charts here. We are right here. Really close to where we're supposed to be. .650 in the real world. We're doing okay. We've got just a 2-knot crosswind. True airspeed's 162. So we're moving along okay. Yeah, so the throttle quadrant that I ordered, this is the one I 3D printed, and this is what the first couple generations of SR-20s and SR-22s had. I found a pattern for it online, along with the pattern for mixture handle, which fits nicely on the old SciTech throttle quadrant that I've got. But the more modern SR-22 handles look more like kind of a center shifter on a car. They're quite cool. And again, I found somebody on Etsy who 3D prints them. So that's on the way and should be here by the end of the month. Another tributary coming into the green. now officially in central Utah. We're going to see some roads down here. The main road going from Price down to Green River. If we made a right-hand turn, we'd go to Price. And you can see the water pocket.
Echo this frequency, join Mike to the ramp.
You can see the water pocket fold here, which is almost like somebody sheared off the top of a big clam. And it was a big uplift, and then got eroded away, and it creates some really incredible terrain. And we're flying right along the top of it, the San Rafael Swell. It's called the water pocket fold, but the whole uplift is called the San Rafael Swell. And we're right on the right heading. And then these mountains here, those are the Henry Mountains. You can just see in the distance, and we flew along those on our flight up to Logan from Bullfrog a couple days ago in this Alphabet Challenge. This part of Utah down here is my favorite territory in the whole state. I've spent a lot of time in Capitol Reef National Park. It's a park most people don't visit. If you have a chance to visit it, you should do it. It's unbelievable. So we've got the Henrys that we can see. And then that's Boulder Mountain. So we could actually just fly visual the rest of the way, because we're just going to fly down and to give you a sense of how far we're looking. That Boulder Mountain is 100 miles out. We're basically just going to fly on this side of Boulder Mountain and make a little right-hand turn, and we will drop into Escalante. All right, I got to see if we're going to go to the left fuel tank or not. Let's wait and see what happens. Fuel pump on. All right. That was a nail biter. Price River and Trail Creek merge, come into the, eventually to the green from this side. You can see them coming down through that canyon. Price, Utah is that way, just Utah coal country. It's really striking when you make this, drive this road, which you can see here from Price down to Green River. The size of these cliffs and bluffs are just really impressive. And that's where you go if you're on your way to Moab. You go down there, you hook up into I-70, and then you drop down into Moab. Green River is where people go when they're about to raft down in Colorado, down into Mineral Canyon. And they raft the Green, and it hooks up with the Colorado River. It's pretty incredible. Get into Canyonlands National Park. It's a place that has a soft spot in my heart. Okay, so we are doing great. We can see the edge of the water pocket fold starting to come up. We can really see the train of it here. Over there in the distance, we can start to see Castle Valley, which is another pretty incredible part of the world. The whole place could be one giant national park if they wanted to. Well, we've got a little time here. If anybody has any questions about the sim, if there's anything I can answer, I'm happy to do it. I don't really have a long list of projects. Things are working pretty well, which, you know, knock on something, is always temporary in a flight simulator, it seems. Things work well until they don't. But right now things are going pretty well. I really like having this G5 setup over here. I like having these fans. I wish they blew a lot more air than they do. But I'm going to figure out a way to get a real blower. The problem is not the fans. I've got 2 decent fans out there, but the fans are like 3-4 inch fans, and this aperture is only like 1 inch. So half the air just gets pushed back. I need to maybe get a smaller fan to put in there that is able to push everything it pushes through. have to look into that. You can really see the geography of the water pocket fold now. The San Rafael swell, that uplift, and the cliffs. You can sort of see the scalping of it over here. That's the start. Oh. Got a little wind there. Okay, so we're crossing the highway now. So if we're crossing the highway, and then we should see Green River. Well, there's some cliffs over here that are really cool looking. I'm sorry you can't see. Maybe if I lean back, you can just see these. So Green River. There's a river that comes out of the water pocket fold. There's the end of those cliffs. Another big, interesting wind gust. I don't know what that's about, if that's the updating of the weather. Okay, so there's Green River Municipal is right there. Little airport right there. Slide by. Then Green River is just beyond it. So I can see the airport no problem. And there goes the highway going by. Right there. So we are, that's that bend. We're about right. About right here. We just flew a beam at Green River Airport, and we are flying, in fact, we're a beam at right now. And we've crossed the highway. Or we're just about to cross the highway, so we're right here and we're crossing into the cliffs right now. I can see this creek right here out the front window, and I didn't see those power lines, but we're going to be on the other side of the San Rafael swell here in just a second. Right here. And that's Highway 70 we just crossed over. And I can see the road running south, off to my left. That road eventually goes down to Hanskville. So we can follow this road dead if we wanted to get where we're going, but we still know we're going right there. So we just sort of aim at that and we'll be in good shape.
3696, yeah, no traffic observing you in the airport. Report out for cancellation of Miss Bridge airborne. This frequency on the ground 122.2. Change advisor frequency approved.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that a little slower? I missed that.
3696 here. Report I for cancellation or missed approach. This frequency or on the ground 122.2. Change to advisory frequency approved.
Yeah, so here's I-70. Is right here because it cuts into the reef.
Canceling or missed approach.
Runs down and across.
Advisory. Thanks a lot.
So we're just about to cross the road. We'll be able to see that out this side window. Some questions. Are you going to upload the flight plans for the series of flights to your website? I can't get into my website. The website is still up on the glideslope.net. Is still up. And I can still access the domain, but I can't log into WordPress. And I think there's been so many trackbacks that have spammed it over the years that the host has just blocked it. So I need to email them and say, hey, could you get me back into my website? And then I will. If you're in the PilotEdge Discord server, I have all the segments saved there, and it's not hard to check them out. I'll paste the link in here. Give me just a second to do that. Let's see, if I wanted to stream this, or share this stream with a buddy, that's where I do that. With Gonzo, if you haven't seen the Gonzo flights, you need to go back in a couple weeks and see the Gonzo flights. First, the flight into Mineral Canyon into height, which is a hilarious comedy of errors. And then the flight into SimVenture when we went into Oshkosh, which was really cool. Really, really cool. I'll paste the Discord link in here for the Alphabet Challenge. Also, I've got a link I can share. Give me just a second. I can't copy the whole thing in because it's too long, but I'll put it right here for you. And like, if any of you are on PilotEdge and want to fly this together, I mean, I'd love it. We could fly as a flight formation. That'd be very cool. And with PilotEdge, you know, we'd have ATC along the way, which is also very cool. And there's only one powered airport in Utah for PilotEdge, but nonetheless. And when I flew to Dutch John last night, one of the viewers, Nate, actually had loaded in and was in pattern when I got there, and it was very cool. A little traffic, and hilarity ensued as we attempted tailwind landings against terrain. And thought, you know, maybe we should do right traffic into this airport, even though it doesn't say it should be right traffic. It definitely should be right traffic. Right, crossing over the highway, we are doing great. There's another road down here. That's I-70 there. See San Rafael Knob is over here. That's Thousand Lakes Mountain out there, right there. That over there is Boulder Mountain. Those are the Henry Mountains. So if we just crossed over 70, Hanskville in about 11 minutes. We could try some old school navigation here if we wanted. What's the Hanskville VOR? 115.9. Identified. There's a VOR. Look at that. What should it be to us to about here? Is it should be probably about, I'm going to guess around 178. Oh, 180. How's that for close? All right, so we're on a 180 bearing from the Hanskville VOR. That gives me one idea of where we are. Somewhere around there. And then if we have another VOR nearby, Canyonlands is 109.8. What is it? 109.8. Takeoff VOR, got that logged in. See if we can hear him.
And Seattle Center, Cessna 36960 will cancel IFR.
26960, hyper cancellation is received. Squawk VFR, changed advisory frequency approved. Have a safe flight day.
This should be Moab.
Thank you. Thanks for your help.
Yep. Three dashes. Dot dash. Dash dot dot dot. Okay, let's confirm that we've got Hanskville VOR. Yep. It's really hard, really faint, but 4 dots, 3 dots, and a dash. Dot. Okay. So if we wanted now, DME equipment. And if we go VOR2, we're about a 175 heading for the 1. VOR2, we're on a 80 degrees. VOR1, we're 175 degrees. So going out of Hanskville at 80 puts us about like Hanskville at 80. Now what Hanskville's at? What am I seeing here? No. Duh. Hanskville's 173. So 173 degrees out of Hanskville. About like that. And out of Canyonlands, 76. And that puts us right about where we are. Right on. The old triangulation method. So 76 for them, and Hanskville was, what was Hanskville? Hanskville is now 170. Yeah. Well, right where we should be. There you go, a little VOR navigation. There's a way to show the DME on here, but I'm not sure. What I'm doing with that. It's been a while. It's probably been a while since anybody did VOR navigation. But if we wanted to just say pilotage, instead we would go, well, we're popping out of the water pocket fold, we're right at the end of it. And we can see the road to Hanskville. And I can see a creek and some irrigation down here. And I can see the buttes up here that are the Badlands. So I would guess that if I'm looking at the chart, I would guess that we're right about here. So what I was doing is I was getting a bearing on the Hanskville VOR coming out of here. And again, we'll just go back and look at it for the heck of it while I'm on here. So the Hanskville VOR has me now on a heading of 163. So the reciprocal of that. So about here, about that line. And the Canyonlands VOR has me on a heading of about, a reciprocal heading of about, we're losing the VOR, it's getting too intermittent. which is also realistic. About 0.73 on the, or 73 degrees on the reciprocal. So about like this. So somewhere right in here. That's where we are. I don't know why the nav radios were so quiet. Okay, so I can see the road to Hanskville. I can see the Fremont River coming out here, which comes out of Capitol Reef National Park, which is that way. And then this here is the creek that's on the charts coming into Hanskville. And where they meet is, no surprise, Hanskville. Nice view of the side of the water pocket fold here. Sorry for the mouse action. We'll look at the chat. Father-son simulator is back. We're going to Escalante, if anyone wants to join up. Okay, this gets much easier now, because there's the Henrys, there's the Fremont River. That back there is going into Capitol Reef National Park eventually. And the important thing is we can now see Boulder Mountain, which is this massive right here. And we are going to go right around the edge of it. So it's about 7,000 feet at the foothills. Right at the edge of it, it's about 9,000. We're at 10.5. We're a little early to be planning approach, but we're only 20 minutes out. We're losing the VOR now from Canyonlands. Still got Hanskville, which is almost directly at Bemis now. Yeah, I should be able to get a DME reading on this. Not quite sure how I do it. It's been a long time since I've needed to use a DME. Oh, there's the DME. I just had to pop it up on the screen. So now we can make it a lot easier. We can go, we're 7 miles from the Hanskville VOR on a 310 heading reciprocal. So we're getting too close. 300 we'll call it. And again, we're only 7 miles away. Boy, we're almost exactly on the path I wanted us to be on. Like almost exactly. That's great. But that's one way to identify your location, by just using the VOR. If you have DME equipment, you know range and you know direction. And you can look on the chart and figure it out. If you don't have DME equipment, you triangulate between 2 VORs. And that's where you are on the chart. But we're doing pilotage today, so we can get two bearings. Yeah, that's great. That's very cool. Been a while since I've done any of that stuff. I do like seeing the wind. Okay, so we just passed Hanskville, right off the side. We're about to cross the Fremont River. Hanskville Airport was right back there. I can see it over my left shoulder. This territory over here is called the Badlands in Utah, and it is bad. And it cuts into kind of another part of the San Rafael Swell that's called the Water Pocket Fold. So you can see that scalloping again here. And on the other side of it is these sheer sandstone cliffs, and that makes most of what Capitol Reef is National Park heading south. And it sets south down quite a bit past Boulder Mountain. It goes all the way down really almost to Lake Powell. In fact, you can see Navajo Mountain down at the south end of Lake Powell right there. Might have to zoom in. These mesas in the Badlands are really very cool. Okay, so let's start thinking about descent, and it might take us just a little bit closer here. We also have a 9-knot headwind. So we've got about 20 minutes to go. Escalante is at 5,700 feet. So we want to be at 6,700 feet. So we want to lose about 4,000 feet of altitude, which we can do in 8 minutes. So our current speed, 8 minutes is going to be about 20 miles for us. Just about the time we come around the corner of Boulder Mountain, we'll be ready to start our descent. You can see the top end of the Henry Mountains coming in here, which is cool. So we'll be ready for that. If we had a flight plan, we could use VNAV to make this happen. Going 172 VOR nav only. No, we're in the SR-22. And actually, no, I just did VOR nav there just to do it. Hadn't done it in a long time. We've been flying on pilotage all the way from. We've been doing pilotage on PilotEdge all the way from Hanskville. Thousand Lakes Mountain is another massive out here that's quite impressive. You can see it on the distance. Again, we've got this really light. I think I clicked something and although that looks pretty similar. Part of the lighting is such that with X-Plane that when you're looking into the sun, it's different than when you're not, which is cool. The atmospherics are different. Okay, Fremont River moving through. Now we're really in the Badlands. Coming up alongside the Henrys. That first is Mount Ellen, right there. 11,500 feet. Everything's peaceful from 5,282 feet. If you know your movie references, you'll get that one. Caneville. Caneville is a little town. In fact, that's Caneville right there. Caneville is a little town on the way to Campo Reef National Park that used to have one of the greatest Mexican restaurants. That was in this little town with like 7 people in it. Then that moved to Torrey, and I think it's still in business, but it changed hands several times. And last I saw was serving very fine Mexican food. When I ate there, it was abuela Mexican food. But now you can go there and have rattlesnake. Stuff like that is very cool. All right, so we are, in fact, we can see, if we look out the window here, we can see the terminus of, I'll use the mouse, the terminus of Thousand Lake Mountain right there. And then this down in here is where Torrey, Utah is. And then this is Campo Reef. This is all red rock. The Apple ortho imagery of this part of the world is really washed out. It's not nearly as colorful as it really is. And then we have a road right here, which is on the charts, and I can see where that road crosses the creek, which it has, and then that's the Fremont River going back into Campo Reef right there. That's the road into Campo Reef, and I can see that bend in the river. Okay. Mountains off to the left. So when we get ready to come into Escalante, First of all, let's do a little briefing. Do they have a... Boy, they have a... We could shoot an approach. They've got an RNAV. Look at that. I don't see a chart for it. I see takeoff minimums. I see the departure. We'll go ahead and look at the RNAV just so we get some information. Runway landing is 5,032 feet. Airport elevation 5730. We got that. Salt Lake Center over the top is 133.6. There's a, that says it has a, is that probably the Panguitch ASOS is the closest ASOS, 120.625. Let's get that ready to go. Just in case we can pick that up. Listen for that on COM 2. The whole time we were listening to guard, I had it off. I'm not used to using, when I was done flying in the real world, I was just getting to managing my radios differently and much more in a commercial pilot kind of way. Having certain frequencies always on COM 1 and certain frequencies always on COM 2 and monitoring COM 2 constantly for different things. And I never really grooved those habits. The other habit was always using the FMS and never the dials, and I still go up for the dials sometimes. Although I can't see this really well with the bezel of the thing, so. Runways, we've got 1331. And the CTAF is 122.8. Got that dialed in and ready to go. I haven't heard a call from center in a long time. We're still on 125575, that's what he gave us. Let's just be quiet. Any NOTAMs? Nope. Mouse procedures, fine. Okay, well, let's see who's closest with weather. It said PGA was our closest. Boy, there is nobody around here for weather. Bryce Canyon, maybe?
6 Tango Mike, NorCal approach, clear to Reading Airport as filed. Maintain 5,000, expect wind 6,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 121.3, squawk 5405, hold for release.
We've got Bryce Canyon on 135475. So we can try that out. See if we can pick up that, although the south end of Boulder Mountain might make it so that we can't.
Sir, 226 single mic, read back correct, 5 ready for departure. Sir, 15 Juliet off.
Go ahead. Well, 5 Julie Golf, go ahead.
1 second.
She thinks I might be shooting an approach, and then she's going to figure out that I'm not. Okay, we can come around the corner of Boulder Mountain now.
No, 5 Juliet Golf, sorry, I was thinking the altimeter wasn't coming up. Bryce Canyon altimeter 3028.
3028, thanks. Okay. So now we got to start looking for Escalante. Now's where it gets interesting. It's basically a heading of about 220 from where we were. I don't want to get too close to Boulder Mountain. And the only real visuals are the airport itself and the town. Boy, if we lost the motor here, we would be, well, we'd be looking for someplace flat. Okay, so I've got the terrain coming down. There's a power line. I'll see the road coming off of Boulder Mountain. So I should see the road coming off of Boulder Mountain. There's a lake right there, which is probably that lake right there. So we're almost exactly where I wanted us to be. We're right. Here's the lake I was pointing out. You'll be able to see it out of the right window here in a second. And then we're going to come around the corner. Then we'll see the town of Boulder, and then we might see the town of Boulder, like it's tiny. But then we should see this power line and road. At the very least, we can follow the road to Escalante. That's a backup plan. There's the lake. And I'm not going to lose much altitude until I think I have it. From about where I think we are, heading of about 215. There's another little lake in front of us. I think that's a different lake. There's a million little lakes here. The key thing is to be looking for the road coming out of Grover and Torrey over the top. Looks like Mars, yep. Yeah, you know, and I see guys who get their sim set up as a BATD, but like it sort of like becomes like a real airplane. Like you can't make any changes to it. And I'm always messing around with the sim. You're basically locked in to where you get certified, where it gets certified. I looked into it back when I was flying, but you know, the key thing is it's a great way to keep proficiency. And then when I would get in the real plane,
this is IFR to Half Moon Bay.
When I would get in the real airplane and either fly under the hood, or if I had some actual, which was rare, or I do real sometime, like I felt a lot more contemporary and proficient in current, which is really what you're trying to be. There's a big difference between current and proficient. Great view of, that's just what Boulder Mountain looks like. Maybe a little more green. Again, the Apple maps here are sort of washed out. Okay, so if we're coming around the corner, that's the corner right there on the charts. So that's right the point where I wanted about turn and be flying about 219er, which is we're flying 222s too, so that's fine. And it should be just about 8 minutes. So we should probably start losing a little altitude. Altimeter set.
541 Foxtrot, clear to Half Moon Bay
Fuel
Airport.
system looks good. Make
Radar
sure
vectors Oakland VOR direct.
take us full rich.
5,000. Departure frequency 135.1. Squawk 5714.
Brake pressure. We got it. Oxygen. We're breathing. Okay. Then let's just take us down a couple hundred feet a second.
Under 1 Foxtrot, I'm in the initial altitude maintain 3,000, expect 5,000.
Let's peg us for
departure, contact ground for taxi.
85 first. And then take us just down a couple hundred feet a minute. We're going to probably overfly the airport to check the windsock anyway. Okay, so we've got another little lake. That's not on the chart. The rise comes down. Got a bunch of, there's a little farm. I should see the town of Boulder off to my side and the road coming out of Boulder. That's how we'll really know. There's the road coming down.
Calling North California.
I bet that's Boulder right there.
Position.
Boulder and the is just coming up on the wing. There's the road coming out. Okay, the road comes down underneath me. Okay.
Southeast of which airport again?
I think I've got... He thinks he's got the field, but... Does he? Should be able to see the road.
5130 Echo, North California Squawk 3051, I done.
I think I need to come back this way a little bit. Okay, the road's right in front of us. The road comes down, winds around, heads down that way.
5130 Echo, radar contact 21 miles east Oakland Airport, Oakland altimeter 3006. And you said you were looking for as far into Oakland Airport?
About 217.
Rider 5130 Echo, are you able to accept 28 right ILS, or is that a special request?
Looking.
5130, confirm altitude.
Say altitude. Altitude. We've got some balloons over there.
5130 Echo, clear to Oakland International Airport via right turn heading 090, radar vectors RLS runway 30.
Sorry, I left you in front of you again.
Climate existed upon discussion maintained.
Mostly just really looking for it. Okay, there goes the road. Just crossed over it. It goes south. Bends around. Alright, we're going to take off the autopilot.
313, pressure 5130 Echo negative. I did not say cleared. I said vector 4. Very, very different. Radar vectors. ILS runway 30 approach. Confirm.
My left monitor is freaking out for some reason, which is a little disorienting.
030 Echo, confirm that's a right turn for me.
The road comes that way.
5130 Echo, thank you. Oakland altimeter 3006.
There's some balloons. I'm looking for the airport.
2216 on Mike North California tie down. Correction. Release for departure. Change advisory frequency is approved. And confirm initial altitude 5,000.
The cliffs come around. Escalante should be right in the middle here. I still don't see it. There's the end of the massif. Okay, where are you? There's a creek coming down. Is that it right there? Yeah, there it is. I got it. We're a little south. Or I'll show you at the right window. I think that's the town of Escalante right out there. So we were just a little south. You know, I was worried about cutting it too close to Boulder Mountain, but really that's sort of what my plan depended on.
Pressure 5130 Echo, contact North California 120.95.
The airfield is directly in front of us. I think. It's hard to see. I think it's got trees on it, but yeah, I think that's the airport right there. Just south of town. So like Sirius 15 Juliet Golf has Escalante. Okay.
015 Juliet Golf, radar services terminated, squawk V5 frequency change, approved, have safe landing.
Going over, thanks.
5130 Echo North Tower approach.
Okay, so let's switch over to the CTAF. We'll fly right over the town. Escalante traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf is just over the top of the town, 9,000 feet. We're going to be making some couple descending turns here, and then we'll set up for our landing. We'll call the runway in a minute. Escalante. What about the wind is coming out of the west? And so we're going to want to land on 3-1. And it's right traffic into 3-1. So while we're descending here, we got a little fuel imbalance. There we go. Fix that. Or I just had trimmed it for the autopilot. Okay, let's bug. We're gonna land on 3-1. And it's gonna be right traffic, landing on 3-1. So we're gonna come in from the opposite side, the side we're actually on. Coming down, looking for 6,700 feet. Pretty close, we're just 3 miles out. Escalante traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet out 8,000 feet, about 3 miles north of town. We're going to be setting up for a right downwind into 3-1 Escalante. There's the town. There's the airport. Again, the airport looks like it's got stuff landing, stuff all over it. That's the airport right there. 72. I want to get down to 6,700. That's our runway. Coming to 67. Want to be about 90 knots into the pattern. Escalante traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf is heading to right downwind for 3-1 Escalante. Yeah, so we were good until the very end, then we didn't quite get lost, but we were a little further south than I wanted to be. 13-knot tailwind, we picked the correct runway. Escalante traffic 15 Juliet Golf entering the right downwind for 3-1 Escalante. All the trees around the airport made it harder to see. That's sort of what confused me from a distance. Okay. We're set up on our downwind. numbers, 90 knots. First laps. Pumps on, make sure full reg flaps are down. And we're coming down, watch out for the balloons. A little slow, there we go. Need a little altitude there. Escalante traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf is turning right downwind, right base for 3-1 Escalante. Next flaps. Escalante traffic, 15 Juliet Golf, turning final for 3-1 Escalante. A little high, but we got plenty of time. I'm still getting used to visualizing the pattern again in this thing. Crosswind. That didn't feel very real. Super pointed into that crosswind. Well, it wasn't too bad. We had to kind of kick it at the last second, but we did all right. I would call that landing firm, but not a teeth rattler. Still getting my flaps coming up. My toe brakes figured out. It's the one thing about these things that I just drives me crazy. It's so unlike how you drive it in the real world. Okay, I'll get better. He says as he drives off the ramp. Escalante traffic, 15 Juliet Golf is clear of 3-1 Escalante. Okay, autopilot is disengaged, power level. We didn't do a bulk landing. After landing, power lever 1000, fuel pump off, flaps are up, transponder, I always like to keep it squawking, lights as required, pitot heat has been off the whole time, fuel pump off, throttle to idle, cycle the ignition switch to ground check. There we go. Okay, well that was cool. We're in Escalante. Happy to do it. Thanks, Nate. Next time you should join me. Thanks for tuning in. It's been fun doing this the past couple days. I'm not going to stay with a flight a day for very long. Probably get back to maybe once a month. But it's fun to do. And we'll keep chipping away at the Utah Challenge. And maybe get a PilotEdge membership